Hi, I'm in London Heathrow's Terminal 5. I thought I'd talk for a few segments about reducing cost of the finance department. As I've been in some discussions recently, it's been a topic of conversation. The issues around finance costing in the finance department, there's some things to think about here. One is that we've talked about, finance is a data reactive process, a data reactive function. It creates very little data but has to react to the data throughout the organization. And the finance systems are very expensive systems. They touch the entire organization. Every financial transaction in the organization has to come through the financial system, whether it's automated, most of them, or not. There's some manual processes to get them, but ultimately the book of record has to include the impact of every significant financial transaction. So the systems are very expensive to implement, but finance as a domain, as an owner of the process, they're very good about managing cost. They know that they're an expensive division, and they do very good at managing themselves as they do helping the rest of the organization manage cost. They're very good at managing their own costs, and so the run rate of finance relative to the cost of the financial systems is very different. The cost of the financial systems is very large, but the ongoing cost of finance relative to that is usually much smaller. But even at that, the cost of finance over time tends to grow. It's because the cost of finance is reactive to new data requests. The original finance systems that we put in place were, in order to reduce compute capacity required, aggregated quickly to balances required for specific reports. That process of aggregating quickly destroyed other uses of the data. Those other uses of the data are things that continually get asked for now. As more and more things have been automated, more and more insight can be gained from tracking and understanding what's in the data. The finance system doesn't have that data, yet the credibility that comes by matching to the financial system is enormously valuable. And so often the finance department gets asked to produce more and more outputs for which the systems were not designed. It means creating ad hoc new systems around the edges. These sort of processes become a problem because they're not things that can be automated easily, because now the core system doesn't adopt and adapt itself to answering these questions. Finance as a discipline is very good at managing costs, and so they automate as quickly as they can. Most of the gains that can be had in the world around labor arbitrage, finding low-cost locations, most large organizations that have taken advantage of that already, so there's not a lot to be gained in that space. We're left with systems that cannot move to the next level of answering the finance processes. So it leaves us in a difficult position. We'll talk in the next couple of segments about a bit more detail around how these systems problems manifest themselves in the finance area and the cost embedded in them in the next conversations with Kip.